Hello guys, let me introduce one other guest who is create absolutely awesome WeParent application. It's Elena. Elena, please tell our audience about your startup.
Thank you so much. I'm Elena Krasnoper, and I'm the creator of WeParent, a new app that helps divorced and separated parents manage custody schedules, calendars, share information, exchange messages. In a difficult situation, they're raising their kid with somebody that they don't live with and are not married to, so it's extra complicated.
Tell our audience a bit about the product. We understand the use case, but how your application works and how your application get value for customers.
Absolutely. The idea behind the app is it's an all-in-one application. It's very important that you don't have to go to 5 different apps. In fact, they don't want messages with their ex commingled with their iMessages, right? They want it located in one place that is archivable, searchable, of course, private and secure, and that can even be used in a court if need be. So the app has multiple tabs. The primary one is calendar, and it shows at a glance what the custody arrangements are, where the children are staying with which parent, as well as the events represented by dots, doctor's appointments, after-school activities, and so forth. Now there's a tab for custody schedules because that's a very complicated and special case, right, that parents have to manage. And then there is messages and a library of notes, expenses, documents, photos, all these artifacts of parenting life, where if you live together, I'm a married mom myself, I can go, honey, where's that health insurance card? But for a divorced parent who lives separately from the co-parent, you can't go and ask for that information. So it has to be easily reachable, within, easily accessible, and the mobile phone and mobile app is the best way to deliver that experience. So the goal is to really simplify the logistics aspect of the parenting relationship and to reduce the stress and the conflict that frankly often arises in co-parenting relationships, freeing up the parents to focus their energy on the kids.
So you ease the life of divorced parents. That's awesome. So a couple of questions about how you come up with the idea.
Well, I can't take credit for coming up with the idea. As I mentioned before, I myself am married, and I have 2 wonderful kids, 11 and 13. And I was at the time working on my previous app, which was called CalRoo. And that too was a family app, and everything was shared. But what I kept hearing from my either current customers or would-be customers was that while they loved the idea of the app, it was too open, too shared for their taste. They said, I'm not dealing with my current spouse, I'm dealing with my ex. I don't want every breath I take to be visible to the other person. Things are more formal, more complicated, not always as friendly. And so they kept coming back to me and saying, I will pay you for it. If you build an app that actually suits my family, I will pay you a subscription fee. And the first few times I heard, I said, you can kind of sort of still use my other app. And they said, no, we want the app that is truly custom built for us. And that's kind of the spirit that I want to have in this app, is that I want every parent to feel, wow, somebody got into my head, saw my life, understood it, and built an app just for me.
Sounds great. So for how long do you have the application on the market?
We launched a very rough beta app in December of last year, but we launched for real on March 1st, so just 10 weeks ago. And so far it's been great because without any advertising, any marketing whatsoever, purely through App Store search and browse, we've signed up about 700 families, so growing the number of families 33% week over week over the course of 10 weeks. And last week, we got featured by Apple as App of the Day on the US App Store, and that was an amazing experience. It produced a 17x spike in free trial subscriptions. We are a subscription-based business. It's not a completely free app. It's free to download, it's free to try for a month, but after that, you are billed for the subscription unless you cancel. And one of the reasons that we got featured by Apple is because we established a great relationship with them after they selected us for the Apple Entrepreneur Camp, their new program for female founders, and it was a fantastic experience.
Can you tell our audience about this program from Apple? Because I think a lot of female entrepreneurs are looking for funding, for support, or for some stuff like that from any big companies.
Well, it won't help you with funding, except indirectly, right? By improving your app and improving your business, which would hopefully help you generate traction and therefore raise funding. It's not a direct investment. What it is, it's basically, think of it as almost as a mentorship program, a boot camp, if you will, where you come in there for 2 weeks, very full time, on premise. You're literally on the Apple campus, 9 to 5 every day for 2 weeks, and you get these most amazing experience. Engineers, developer evangelists, marketers, app store managers, and so forth give you very specific, extremely helpful, very concrete advice and feedback on your app. Especially, of course, on the engineering and product side of things, but also on the business aspects of it, on marketing, user experience, and other just amazingly useful areas of the app. And so I came in with lots of questions, and I thought I knew what I didn't know. And boy, was I surprised, because not only did they answer those questions and then some, but they also told me a lot of things that, frankly, I didn't even know that I was missing or wasn't realizing. So it was truly life-changing in that regard. For an app developer, being selected for an Apple Entrepreneur Camp is about as good as it gets.
Next question, of course, about your background. What's your background and how you get to this place?
Sure. Well, I'll try to give you the short version of this story. As you can guess from my name, I am Russian. I grew up there in the Ural Mountains, a city called Perm. Came here a long time ago in 1990. So I've been in the US a lot longer than I was ever in Russia. And I went to college here on the East Coast, Wellesley. Then I went to Stanford for my PhD. In fact, one of the professors from the department is speaking right next door right now, which is amazing. But what I realized about myself is that I was way too impatient and pragmatic to be an academic. And so I went into business instead. And I worked over the course of 20 years, first at BCG, which is a consulting firm, then at eBay, PayPal, went to my first startup, a late-stage VC-funded startup called Zong. We sold Zong successfully to PayPal, so I came back post-acquisition, left again to go to Odesk, which by now has merged with Elance and went public as Upwork. A very good friend of mine runs it now as a CEO. And then for the last 5 years, I've been an entrepreneur, creating applications, software and mobile applications for parents. It's very near and dear to my heart. I'm a mom, and I feel like, frankly, there are just not enough good apps and services built for us in our roles as parents. Yet it's the most important job I do.
With such a great background, you probably can easily get funding. Where are you on money?
Oh, you'd be surprised. I don't know if money ever comes easy to anybody. I've raised a relatively small amount from angels via an equity crowdfunding platform called WeFunder. So we ran a campaign in the fall of last year. And I'm not formally fundraising in the sense of, having my spreadsheet, with all the investor targets and pitching to them and getting warm introductions. But I do take advantages of wonderful opportunities like SVOD to get the story of my startup out there and see if there are any like-minded investors, people who are on a similar mission, which in my case is helping millions of parents make their life easier.
And regarding to the money, how much are you looking for?
If I could wave a magic wand, I would happily raise several $1 million. Realistically, given that we're still pretty early stage, although we are getting some traction, we are targeting a $500,000 raise, most likely in convertible note or a safe.
It's, I think, very achievable amount of money, yeah. And my question, what is the area of your spending? What is the best way to spend this money for your startup?
Well, at the moment, the only thing that I'm spending money on is technology development, right? So I pay engineers because I do everything. I joke that CEO does not stand for Chief Executive Officer. It stands for Chief Everything Officer. Except I can't code. So I'm not a technical person. I do everything but technology. So by definition, I have to pay somebody to do the technology part, and I have an amazing technology team. Again, if I had more money, then I would be splitting it between, of course, continued product development and innovation and marketing. Right now, we're relying purely on organic search. I did as much App Store optimization as I could. We're relying on word of mouth, on some PR, and we got some wonderful PR when we joined the Apple program, for instance, and certainly features like App of the Day helped a lot. But with money, we can just go faster right? And get to basically, a lot of people are in pain, right? A lot of parents are in pain because their lives are so complicated and frankly stressful. So I'd like to help them as soon as possible, and certainly having investor money would help accelerate that process.
How you charge your clients?
So it's a very straightforward subscription SaaS model, and the way it works is that the app itself is free to download and it's free to try for a month. After that, it bills you automatically unless you cancel, but we deliberately set the initial price for our product very, very low. We want to keep it affordable, we want to grow market share, and we're the only app in the market that prices on a whole family basis. So it's just $10 a year for everybody in both households, in the case of divorced people. So it's trivial. But it's not zero, because I want people to have some skin in the game, right? When they're choosing an app, I want them to make a conscious decision, decide what is their time and their stress and happiness worth to them, right? So we do plan to raise prices over time, but initially we're really eager to set the price low, and we're committed to keeping it very affordable, but we can certainly go up quite a bit from where we are right now. And the reason that we're family-wide is because, A, we don't want to add any more conflict to an already strained relationships where both people have to pay, right? So just one of them has to make the decision and pay. But also we want to encourage other people in the family to get involved. Not just the two co-parents, but also their new spouses, partners, grandparents, siblings, nannies, anybody else who needs to be in the loop can all come along. It takes the proverbial village to raise a kid. It gets particularly hard in the case of divorced and separated parents. And so we just want them to get all the help that they can possibly get from their entire extended family.
So you can create the whole parents infrastructure, digital parents infrastructure. Okay, what's your take about the conference?
The conference is great. This is actually my second time attending SVOD, but last year I was purely in the audience. This year I'm about to go on stage and pitch my startup, and I'm very excited about that. But I'm really impressed by the quality of the audience, the startups, the investors, just visitors and guests, and you can tell that from the quality of the interactions, the questions that they ask, and so I'm just really excited and grateful to be here.
Thank you for being with us. I wish you great pitching. Thank you.